I can see myself today. So, yes, if you can tell by the title, yes, this is my little reviews about a film that I've seen. In this case, it's Hotel Transylvania 3. It's not necessarily the big blockbusters that I tend to target, you know, superhero-wise. I haven't seen Ant-Man and Wasp, so I can't really judge that or talk about it. But I can talk about Hotel Transylvania 3, which is a film series which you either like or you dislike, and I'm on the camp of I really enjoy these films, but I can understand if someone doesn't like them. It's not the type of film that everyone is going to enjoy. It's not something that everyone's going to necessarily find good. You have to have a certain set of mind. You have to, you know, prepare yourself for watching some of these films. But as I was saying, I'm in the camp of I really enjoy these films. And, you know, when I was watching the third film, I was thinking to myself, it's, you know, some of the reasons why people don't like these films, and it kind of dawned on me that a lot of it comes down to who publishes it and the people involved. You see, whenever you mention the word Sony, and Sony Animation in particular, you're often reminded of the brilliant films that they have made, such as the Emoji Movie, or Smurfs, or, you know, their live action stuff like Ghostbusters 2016. And it's one of these horrible situations where it's a horrible, awful company, I should say, not country, ruled by scumbags, and then once in a while they all do something really good, but that really good thing is probably going to be ignored or, dare I say, disliked because of the fact that it's made by that company. You know, Animat is a YouTuber who I've seen quite a few of his videos. I don't mind him. I don't really necessarily find his stuff as enjoyable as some others, but even he has stated that the only reason why he's so biased against Sony animated movies is because it's by Sony. You know, Sony is a scumbag company, and that's always a tragedy in my opinion, because another scumbag company in terms of the video game world is EA, Electronic Arts. Yet there are so many great games, but because of that company, you know, you're going to be paying that company to buy a game that company has published, like The Sims, for example. Well, Sims 3, Sims 4 is a piece of shit. Or, you know, some of the older games like American McGee's Alice or Undying. It's this horrible situation where you don't want to pay them money. You don't want to give them the satisfaction of enjoying their product because it's made by that company. And that's something that I feel Hotel Transylvania does suffer from. Because aside from that, I always found them to be really enjoyable. And, you know, they're really fast paced, they're really lively and jumpy, so if you're not a fan of that, you know, you won't be a fan of this film. But at the same time, it's a film for kids. And I'm sure kids will enjoy it. You know, in fact, it is something that I know, judging from the cinema that I went in, kids certainly did enjoy it. And there are some things that adults can enjoy, because this film in particular has quite a few adult jokes. Some great ones. Now, funnily enough, going into this film, I wasn't looking forward to this film as much as the other two. The other two I always found quite fascinating, because they seemed like this thing that they just got a few advertisements, not really anything to fuss with, and then they were released and everyone was saying how great this is, how brilliant, how amazing this movie was, and so I got interested and, you know, I really enjoyed the film. The first film I thought was okay, I thought it was good. The second film I certainly enjoyed more than the first film. And then this film, and from what I can gather from the general consensus, this film is the best of the bunch, and I agree, this is the best of the bunch. But before going into this film, I wasn't really looking too forward to it, because, for one thing, it was the third film in the series. For another, it was called Monster Cruise, I don't even know what it's called. It's Monster Vacation, that's right. and it involves them being on a ship, and it looked so. It looked like it suffered from forced sequel syndrome, where it was just pushed out because why not? Thankfully, they do make the film enjoyable. They do add some more elements to the series, which, you know, has always raised a few questions. For example, the whole zing thing. This film addresses the issue that, hey, what if you zing more than once? Because, you know, it's kind of an unfortunate message saying, oh, you only zing once, and that's it. This does address that issue, and it does so in quite a decent way. Obviously, the animation is just fabulous. It's fantastic. Like, that's something that Sony does really well. The animation is always really, really good. And I certainly really enjoy the animation in this film in particular because it's just so lively. And obviously, it's done by the Samurai Jack creator, Gennady Tartakovsky. I probably said that name wrong, but, you know, and I love his animation. I really do. And you can definitely tell he had fun making these films. Voice acting, once again, I really enjoy the voice acting in this film, or in these films. And that's another thing. Another thing that this film sort of shoots itself in the foot with, if it doesn't want to get criticised, is the fact that it has Adam Sandler as the lead. And a lot of people are scared of films that have Adam Sandler in because of his reputation. And it's kind of unfortunate because he's really good in these films, and it's this horrible situation of bad company, bad actor pushed into a film where he does funny voices. It's a recipe for disaster, which surprisingly doesn't become a disaster. Obviously, there's also the whole critics versus audience thing. If I'm perfectly honest, the critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes, you know, for all the films, from what I can gather, is like 40%. In my opinion, that's an average rating. 40, 50, and 60 are sort of the average ratings. They're mediocre, alright films. Anything above 60 is positive. Anything below 40, in my opinion, is negative. So I feel like a lot of people who say, oh, people hate this for no reason. I think people are just mixed on it, and that's understandable. Like I said, this isn't the type of film series which I think to myself that, why do you hate it? It's great, you know. This is a type of film series which I can understand someone not liking. I can totally understand. But yeah, this film in particular, I've certainly found myself laughing at a lot of the jokes. Straight away, there's this brilliant scene with the gremlin plane. That was hilarious. I loved seeing the gremlins just tear this plane apart. They were giving orders like, you should unbuckle your seatbelt, we're gonna do it, you know, we're gonna go down, and it's just mayhem. And it's beautiful mayhem. It's so fast paced, it's so in your face, and it's so brilliantly done. Like, everything's executed in such a precise manner, and at a quick manner, in the sense that it just hits every right mark, this plane sequence. Then, of course, they get onto the boat, they meet the captain, and if you've seen the trailers, you know that the captain is Van Helsing's great-great-granddaughter. And that's something else I should point out. At the very beginning, they do it back on the train sequence, on the train in the 1800s. I'm presuming that was meant to be a reference to the actual Dracula novel, because they were on a train, and, well, Van Helsing was on the train, and he's hunting down all the monsters, and he and Dracula have multiple conflicts with one another, until eventually Van Helsing just gives up and gets angry. We then find out that Van Helsing is still alive. He's just replaced I can't speak, replaced most of his body parts with these like mechanical, sort of steampunky, Victorian-esque, you know, mechanical gizzards. And, you know, he's talking to his great-granddaughter and says, you shouldn't, you know, be deceived by these monsters. They are monsters, you should kill them. And of course she's really avid. She wants to rip Dracula's head off, but of course Van Helsing wants to be more patient. Let's wait until we grab this artifact that is going to call Kraken and kill all the monsters at once, as opposed to just kill one straight away. And of course she ignores him and tries to kill Dracula on multiple occasions. However, Dracula is madly in love with her, and, you know, he's obviously put into this cruise because his daughter, Mavis, thinks that he just needs a break, because the truth is, he wants to find love again. And, you know, it's a very decent basic plot, and obviously this is for kids, and kids will need a more simplified plot. It can't be so extremely complicated, you know. Can't be code breaking. But nonetheless, you know, it still has a lot of laughs. It has a lot of stunning and funny visuals, which I'm sure everyone will appreciate. Once again, some of the things that I must admit I didn't like, and this is, you know, a problem which I had with the second film as well, and that is the ending. For whatever reason, the first film had a decent ending, and then even though the films have been getting better, the endings have been getting worse. So you've got a really good ending with a sort of alright movie, and then the rest of the films were great with sort of bad endings. And this is another example of a bad ending, in my opinion. It does something which I must admit I just couldn't stand. So nearly towards the end, Van Helsing grabs the artifact, he activates it, and he discovers that it's a thing to... can't speak. He discovers it's a piece of music that he needs to play in order to, you know, lure the Kraken out to kill the monsters. So he plays the music, which is using an electronic keyboard, so it's obviously a dubsteppy sort of music. And as he plays it, the Kraken wakes up and tries to kill all the monsters, smashing Atlantis up to pieces. Because in case you didn't realise, they go to I can't speak. They go onto the cruise to go to Atlantis. That's the idea. Because Atlantis is essentially played off as a big gambling centre. So yeah, they go to Atlantis, the Kraken's there. He destroyed Atlantis once before when the music was played, and of course they're doing it again. Obviously they discover they need to play a much more happier tune to beat the evil music. So Johnny, with his backpack from the first film, he plays the music, and they play a few songs, and of course it doesn't work. And then they choose one song, and for a good solid 2 minutes, you're about to witness probably one of the worst things in any of the films. In fact, in any of the films in this series, and they play the Macarena. They play the Macarena, and the Kraken dances to it, and admittedly they do mention, to their credit, they do mention, well, the grandfather, Dracula's father does mention, you know, this music piece stinks, you know, this is awful. But even when he says that, he then says, oh, you know what, I find it quite catchy, and then they start dancing. All of them start dancing, and you could have done a lot better movie. You could have ended a lot more better, you know. You know, it's cringeworthy to say the very least. So the ending wasn't particularly great. But another thing which really surprised me was some characters were sort of left out in this movie. The werewolves, for example, the werewolf couple I should mention, they finally leave their children at this like little daycare and on this cruise, and of course they decide to have fun by themselves, and you know, that's fine, but you don't really see them at all throughout the whole film, and even when you do see them, they then get chucked away and locked in a part of the ship's hull. So, you know, and you never really see much of them. And I really liked the werewolf in the past few films. I always thought he was quite a funny character, you know. I guess it's Steve Buscemi's voice that I enjoy. I quite like Steve Buscemi personally. But as I was saying, that said, even though they do get locked into a hole, it does lead up to one of the funniest jokes in the entire film. And it's right at the end when they say, "Hey, you know, we haven't seen much of you," and they said, "Yeah, we you kind of got locked into a vault somewhere, but you know, it's all fine. We had a lot of fun, you know, and a lot of fun." We're gonna have to call the cruise. We're gonna have to call, you know, the child. For fuck's sake, I've ruined the joke. But they basically say that they're going to need, you know, in a few months' time, they're going to need to go back to that cruise to dump their kids off, because it's implied that they had a lot of fun, if you know what I mean. And I've completely butchered that joke. Good. It's funny when you actually watch the film, because I'm awful when it comes to repeating lines or jokes from movies. I really am. I end up ruining films. But I digress. However, of course, the other two characters I felt was sort of left out a bit. Johnny, or Jonathan, he hardly appears. Like, the first film he appeared, like, throughout most of it, if not all of it, and he's like a big major character. Second film, they sort of like kept him at bay a bit, and then in this film, he rarely appears. He like pops up here and there, which I guess is because of the fact that people found him really annoying in the first film, which I can understand. I didn't really think he was the best. He was, you know, that stereotypical surfer dude approach. But here, he is so sidelined. It's kind of distracting. That said, we do get some more like really fun moments with Dennis and his werewolf girlfriend. I love those two together. I really do. They're a lot of fun. They're cute. They're hilarious. And they now have a giant pug, which I'm guessing must have been introduced like in between films, because this is the first time I've seen that giant pug, and they call it Bob or Mr. Tinkles or whatever. Yeah, so overall, I enjoyed the film. I think this is definitely a film aimed for children. Obviously, it's definitely not that I think it is, but it's the type of film which I can understand some people not liking. I can understand some people having their grudges against, but at the same time, it's lively. It's fun. It's extravagant. You know, it's enjoyable for kids. It's a lot of jokes, a lot of adult jokes, I should say, which are enjoyable for, you know, adults, and it certainly keeps your attention. You know, it doesn't like bore you. It doesn't really go too far in like the stereotypical, you know, generic kids movie stuff, but at the same time, it doesn't like go too different and, you know, isolate itself. I certainly found myself laughing at a lot of the jokes and smiling like an idiot at some of the moments and scenes in this film. I recommend this film, obviously, but obviously if you're not a fan of the series, you're not going to enjoy it. It's one of those irritating, conflicting movies, series that, you know, you can't really say you should recommend it or you shouldn't, because half the population love it, half the population doesn't, and it's that sort of middle road that you need to somewhat take. Obviously, I loved it. I don't know if they'll do another, and if they do, I fear that they may go a little bit too far with this series. But, you know, they still keep your attention. They're still over the top, silly fun, and I like it. You know, and I'm sure a lot of other people will enjoy it as well. You know, I see that it's got a huge fan base, and yeah, not really much to say other than I totally recommend it. I didn't really talk much about the plot this time, but hey, it's kind of obvious what happens in the story. If you've seen any of the trailers, you can kind of predict it. And you know what? It had a better villain than Incredibles 2. Yeah, I said it.